of the environment and it will take care of you. The time by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is
Family time, 5:30 p.m.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. This is an absolutely amazing Monday afternoon to spend some time with you on family time. Thank you, Uncle Derval, as usual. Welcome to everyone, including those on Facebook and YouTube Live. And I always, every time it comes to a Monday, it's exciting. There's always something informative, something educational. There's something that will pique your interest. And today is no different. Of course, this is family time. Family time is about your issues and your relationships, your at-home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. Remember, for all your queries, including costs, and to make appointments, please call the offices. Stay with us and please join in on all our platforms. So that's Facebook, YouTube, which are live, and via Instagram. I am, of course, O'Neill Campbell, and it's always a pleasure to be with you on another Monday. So the marriage didn't go so well, and now you're divorced. Really sorry to hear about that, but what do you do next? What comes up next? It's time to have an action plan. After all, life does go on, and so should you. Let's talk about the action plan after divorce. Very touchy topic, I'm sure, but one that is necessary to speak about. So let's discuss the importance of having a plan of action after divorce and what the plan could look like. And as usual, we have a question for you. The question is, what was the most important thing you did after your divorce? Question again, what was the most important thing you did after your divorce? You can contact us via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Call the studio lines as well at 876-968-8327 or 968-8328. And you can always participate. You can also watch us live, as I mentioned before, and comment on Love 101 on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube. We'll be right back with our very special guest, Pastor Christopher Bradber, counselor and advocate for individual, family, and community development. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Get ready for an inspiring time inside Love in the Morning with me, your host, Jakal Dyer, this Tuesday, September 5. Grab your cup of coffee and make us start the day right with the Morning Coffee Pick Me Up devotional at 6 a.m. Then at 7 a.m., we bring you the Morning Watch with intriguing and thought-provoking discussions. At 8:30 a.m. inside The Healthy Way, we discuss otitis externa, known as swimmer's ear. Question of the day: what area of your life do you lack faith in, and how are you trying to build it? Join us at 9:30 a.m. and share your story. Stick and stay with us. It's Island Vibes Tuesday inside Love in the Morning, 5 to 10 a.m. on the family station, Love 101. Celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love. A spiritual start to your mind.
Let's see. I hope you're hearing me clearly. Welcome back. Welcome back to, of course, family time. Just made a little switch there for those who can't see. Hoping you're hearing me much better now. If there was any challenges, and my apologies for that. So, of course, welcome back to family time. Let's get right into it on, of course, Love 101, Love 101, and welcome also to Pastor Christopher Bradber, our very special guest this evening. How are you, Pastor Chris?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, O'Neill. Good to be back on with you guys. And it's a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So I'm happy to be with you talking about it.
No problem. It's interesting. Just a little side note. You look quite familiar, and I think I'm gonna have to get in touch with you after because I think there's a connection outside of this space. So I'm gonna press in on that afterwards. But it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for availing yourself, of course, on this very, what should I say, interesting, something that's not much spoken about,
Yes.
and probably there's a lot of fear. We can get into a number of different things, but persons don't want to delve into certain areas because they don't know where to go, what to do. So we're really happy that you're able to offer
Sure.
some advice in this manner. So as I said, Pastor Chris will be with us for the rest of this hour. Now remember, we want to hear from you. Our audience, what was the most important thing you did after divorce? So the question is, what was the most important thing you did after your divorce? And you can WhatsApp or text and voice notes, 30 seconds or less, to 997-3125. Of course, 876 is the area code. And watch us and comment live on Love 101 on the Facebook and, of course, on YouTube. Our studio lines, you can call them at 876-968-837 or 8327 or 8328 to participate. As always, time goes quickly, so let's jump right into it. So just to get the lay of the land, Pastor Chris.
Sure.
The whole issue about divorce and taking action plans. What does this actually look like? What does all of this depend on in terms of persons being impacted, and then what are next steps?
All right. So the idea is that a couple has been together and they have, for some reason, come to a difficult place and their union is dissolving. It can be a world of hurt, a world of disappointment, broken hearts, surely, but sometimes broken dreams. And if you're not careful, it can put the parties that go through such a thing into a really dangerous spiral downward.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of our listeners may know somebody, who's been divorced, and in that group, they may know of the divorcees, some that have spiraled downward. But there are ways to mitigate against the emotional storms that are typical in a divorce, because guess what? People come together for love, and we, especially in the West, we fall in love, and everything is going to be happily ever after.
Right.
But sometimes it doesn't go that way. It's not, it's not happily ever after the way that you envisioned it, to grow old with this person. And that's a reality of some individuals. And so we have to figure out if that happens, what are some good steps to take to secure you emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, so that you can still be on an upward trajectory and not spiraling downward. And it's possible, and it is prudent. It's not just possible, it's prudent that your life does not end. You must know that life doesn't end if a marriage ends. Yeah,
I do believe that persons think that it's a death sentence or a death nail, in a coffin, to say that once that happens, it's over. It's funny enough, I was speaking to my wife about something, because, as you said, persons, or you're aware of persons who may be experiencing something of that nature, whether they're going through the process or persons have already experienced it. And we're speaking about, it's almost like a scarlet letter, like within the church,
right.
Once persons go through experiences like that, then, they're basically cast aside, or it's as if they're unable to do anything, and persons are looked upon, frowned upon. What did you do wrong? No one even knows the story, but once the big D, scarlet letter D's on your chest, that's almost at the end of it for them.
That's why I wrote this. I wrote a very thin book here with the same topic, because.
Sorry to just interject. It may need to be thicker.
Well, on purpose it's thin. On purpose it's thin because it's an action plan, and it takes the reader through 12 months. It's just 12 months.
Yes.
And we put in some points there to help them walk through and work through month by month their own deliverance and strengthening, and move toward happiness. But can I say, O'Neill, really quickly, that people, we talk about the story of Samson and Delilah.
Right.
And everybody says Delilah, what a wicked woman, and the whole dynamic of Samson and Delilah. And we don't realize that the story of Samson's story is a story of divorce. It's a story of a failed marriage.
Yes.
Yes, he was married to a lady. It didn't work out. She married his best friend, and it put him into a fury. And so he did not handle it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And so he spiraled downward, and ended up in the arms of Delilah. And of course, he wouldn't see the signs. He wouldn't observe the signs that she didn't mean him any good because of the spiral, his downward spiral. And his life ended the way we know the story ends. So it is imperative that there is a plan and there, a procedure, so that you know that even though you have experienced heartbreak and heartache, that you know that it doesn't mean this is life ending. I tell people, my clients, I say one of the critical things I tell every one of my clients is that understand the rest of your life can be the best of your life. The rest of your life, and I want you to be positive, the rest of your life will be the best of your life, because Romans 8:28 exists. All things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to his purposes, even to those who go through the unfortunate situation of divorce.
Right. Couple questions here. The 12-month action plan, do they have to be sequential, or if one section you're kind of stuck on that, meaning there's a lot more to delve in for the first month and it takes a couple months? How does that how you work through that? Is that something that you
well, the way it was prepared, it's to take you through day by day for a month. So it's supposed to work in a systematic way. You try to finish through that first month of divorce. You go through the second month and you try to do the exercise within the second month. And the third month, you try to do those exercises. Yes, you may not be able to accomplish some, but you want to shoot for getting through the statements, reciting the statements, looking at the passage, pondering it, and doing all of the exercises within that month. So progressively moving forward and challenging yourself, because I've seen, unfortunately, I've seen a particular gentleman comes to mind where he didn't have a tool like this, and we tried to reach him, and he was was coming around here and there, but the decline was happening too quickly, and he put on a lot of weight, let his house just fall to ruins, and he just passed away, a young fellow, and that thing hurt me to see that, and I've had to be a part of support groups for men who are in similar situations, who some of which were actually suicidal,
right.
Talking about driving the car into a oncoming vehicle and driving their car off a precipice because of the frustrations, and and guess what? They were Christians. They're Christian guys,
right.
But as you say, the scarlet letter is upon them now. And they're a failed husband, and so why bother? But this, we have a responsibility to not let this happen to our men and to our women. If the marriages fail, we still have to rally around them and comfort them and walk with them and work with them and give them the material they need in order to grow from where they are, and not just say, boy, you're on your own, deal with it yourself.
Right. Just before we run to a break, do you find it is better to have persons go through the steps? Because some persons say, boy, I need some time to go through and take my time and process, maybe a little longer to go through this particular issue. You find it easier if persons are able to, not maybe say rushed, but persons, if they go through a little quicker, the healing process can take place easier. Do you find that as the case, and does it vary depending on persons?
Typically, yeah. The action plan that we have prepared, it actually is for after the divorce, not during your separation and so on. And
right.
you still need, the 5 processes, let's say, of of grieving and coming to terms with what the reality is. That's going to happen naturally anyway. But one of the imperatives, I think, for everybody is to have somebody. So, this is where, again, I blow the trumpet for the dynamic of church. When the church is working properly, it's supposed to provide safe space for everybody, no matter what they're going through, so that everybody has somebody, to be there with them and to care about them even after, they're broken. And
right.
so
sorry, let's stick up in right there, and then we'll go to a break and pick up right where we left off. All right, let's go to a break and we'll be right back.
Jamaica Central Bank digital currency is now here. JAMDEX, no cash, no problem. Step into a future of ease, convenience, and security. Conduct business with your mobile device instantly and without fees. This is how life should be with JAMDEX. You catch it free. JAMDEX are the real free. Use it to buy a stove or TV. You can buy your shoes or 3-piece. Get the central bank digital currency. No cash, no problem. JAMDEX, backed by the Bank of Jamaica.
Hey my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. The least you ever test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Really long life, our story. You hear?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Do an HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Really long life, our story. Real long life was a youth coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats.
Nasty.
They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with them, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere.
Nasty.
But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
Calling all couples. P&S Events and Vacations invite you to rekindle Marriage Still a Keep at Couples Swept Away, November 17 to 20, 2023, hosted by the Eastwoods for 2 nights, 125,000 Jamaican dollars. For 3 nights, 187,500 Jamaican dollars. Discover each other's love language. Create your vision board. Join the All-White Catering Cruise. For more information and bookings, contact 876-585-9116 or 876-898-9698. Rates are per couple. Limited rooms available.
Hate long wait times at the pharmacy? Me too. Well, I found Marshall's Pharmacy, located at Pathfinder Plaza, Greater Portmore. Great customer service, shorter wait times, all the local and international brands I want, plus print services powered by Print Corner. WhatsApp your prescriptions to 876-491-7841 and follow them on Instagram at Marshall's Pharmacy. Visit Marshall's Pharmacy in Greater Portmore today. They're open late every day, even on public holidays.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
Time is now 49 minutes past the hour of 5. So we get right back into it with Pastor Christopher Broadbent. All right, Pastor Chris. So you were basically speaking to an issue that I brought up in terms of the steps that, whether feeling rushed or persons, you find it better based on your experience, how persons should proceed.
Well, this action plan that we put out is designed to run for 12 months. So you push what you can, you leave what you can't, and move on to the next month. But it's designed to be done systematically for 12 months, because what we want to do is crowd out the noise.
Yes.
Be strategic with crowding out the noise that tends to hit your head, when your head is on the pillow,
Yes.
and all of the swirling. We want to create a focus so that you're not pressured by those voices, that tend to come.
Excellent. Give a counter to that which is being bombarding you, so to speak.
Right. That's what I tell
Amen.
persons.
Amen.
That Ephesians 6:12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. In the wrestling action, what the enemy is trying to do, if I can say, say the enemy We all understand the enemy, nefarious spirits, the devil, and they're trying to put pressure on individuals. That's what the wrestle is, in order for them to tap out, give up, surrender. That's what happens in a wrestling match. You bring pressure on your opponent, and so they put pressure, bring pressure to bear by thoughts, the things you're hearing in your head, and so you get depressed and become despondent, and you start to spiral downward. So we try to put things in there to counter, as you said, to counter those pressure tactics that the enemy will bring against your mind.
Got you. For you, what dictates how, as you said, plan is devised and developed? I figure there are, what should I say? Not one size fits all. Even though there's an action plan in terms of the booklet, when you're in counsel with individuals, are there some key components that you pick out and say, okay, this is an area we can focus on and begin to take steps? So how do you really approach that? And what's the plan?
Every
action plan that
every case is unique. Every case is unique, and so you have to have room to create something for that particular individual. Because if it's a dissolved marriage, it's not usually as a couple that you're going to deal with them. It's the individual. And you look at the situation, and based on where they're at, we try to treat with what they're facing. With some guys in the past, the dramatic experience of coming home to a house that was just emptied. You have to deal with that kind of situation differently from someone who is just an amicable dissolving of the relationship, and they just decide, I realize you want something else, and you're going in a different direction, And by no means do we make divorce a simple matter. We know that Malachi, the book of Malachi, explains to us that the Lord hates divorce, But once we see it happen, we still want to save the individuals, the parties, because His grace is sufficient for them. And so we have to design individual intervention tools based on the case, but this plan is a general one that can help because it's on the basis of getting the candidates to think and feel the rest of my life can be the best of my life. That's the foundation that it's built on. Exercises around that, building their confidence, building their self-esteem, building their sense of adventure and exploration. So that these are the concepts that this is built on. But of course, again, whatever the individual's position is, where they're at emotionally, psychologically, financially, it will determine the type of intervention. And I like to remind people that it's imperative to have someone holding your hand, right? So don't try to do it alone. I say in the beginning of this plan of action that watch out for the PAID, the paid dynamic, and the PAID stands for promiscuity, because okay, why bother? Let me just get wild out there. The A is for alcohol. Again, I've gone to the bottle for solace. Watch out for isolating yourself. I'm locked away in my house, just not even bothering turning on the lights, washing the dishes, washing my clothes. Watch out for that. And the D is for drugs. Watch out for trying to take any illicit thing to calm the pain. So you have to watch out for those things so that you don't begin to spiral. We use the acronym PAID.
Got you. Thank you for that. All right. So we have a WhatsApp response here. Now, just to remind our viewers and listeners that what we're specifically focusing on is action plans after divorce. It's not a situation we're doing during a process, but we still will field the question and see how Pastor Chris can respond accordingly. So this is the WhatsApp message. It says, I am going through that process, but I haven't got my divorce as yet. We have been separated for 3 years now, and he hasn't reached out to me or anything like that. What should I do? And also I've been separated. I moved far away from the church I attend, and my pastor hasn't reached out to me, at no time at all. So that's the current state of affairs for that individual.
Well, yeah. So it's important to try to get help. right? That someone is walking with you. That's what I do. I do provide the counseling services to be help for individuals who are, trying to navigate their way from a broken marriage. So we are accountability partners. Just like Family Life Ministries provides good help. The important thing is to find help. Yes, sometimes we know that the churches can, overlook certain things, and you want certain help, but you may not be finding it there. Try to find someone nonetheless, and someone mature who can walk with you through the process. And because everybody needs somebody, and it's not
Right.
it's never an easy thing, but you can make it, and it would be good if you can change your perspective. This is for the person who wrote, and use this strategy that we have prescribed. Write it down, put it somewhere where you will see it regularly, whether you're on your phone and you set it to alarm and it comes up on your screen. The rest of my life will be the best of my life. And that way, as you have that circulating in your, what I call spirit stream, it gives you a foundation from which to build. Mark 11:22 is the biblical, the verse, chapter and verse that we can use, which says, and Jesus answered them saying, have faith in God. And we can use that as an answer for our difficult situation. Every difficult situation, Jesus answered saying, have faith in God. Having confidence in God that he cares about you. Jeremiah 29:11, my plans are good, are for you, for good and not evil. And you trust God that, yes, I'm going to be better. I'm hurting now, but I'm going to be better tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to what God has for me yet. And you don't feel despondent. Again, unfortunately, many of us tend to cause a stigma on divorcees,
Right.
especially when they're Christians. But there is a way to wade through that to still feel healthy about yourself and confident about your future. So get someone in your corner. Call Family Life Ministries, or you can give us a call at counselorscoach.com. Make a booking on Counselors Coach, www.counselorscoach.com, and we can walk with you.
Just a quick take, as we spoke earlier, and you mentioned it also referring to responding to the WhatsApp message. Maybe you can tell me if you want to defer it to a little later or no, but how important, especially in the Christian space, or how much more aware, how important, whichever way you want to take it, or how big a role should or can the church really play in enabling persons to really transition smoothly from devastating circumstances like this? Because as you said, divorce is not a light matter. It's very flippant for some to go and jump out on whatever the case is based on what we're seeing. But really and truly, a part of a person, when they become one, is broken literally, in many ways when that happens. But then, like this person is saying, this lady is saying, there is no ability to really express as she delivers it through the church where that platform was not made available, whatever the case may be. How critical or important do you see the body of Christ, the church leadership playing in persons who are going through this?
Every social dynamic that a human being faces, the church is adequately equipped. The church generally, the Church of Jesus Christ, is equipped to address every social ill. Now, is my local church equipped? Maybe not, but the church in general is, and it should be. Every local church should be. Your church in Duane Park, your church in Patrick City, church in Red Hills, church in Spanish Town. It should be equipped. Oftentimes they're not.
Right.
Sometimes it is hard for us as pastors. I've been a pastor for over 20 years, and I can tell you, I still, there are things that I say I did wrong, but we're afraid to deal with certain situations that may undermine the thing that we promote most. So we promote marriage, we promote romance, we promote, never get divorced. We do promote that wholeheartedly. And so when we see it, like sometimes even like sickness, when we see it, we don't want to see it, and so we don't put it front and center to address it and to love the people back to health. We kind of backbench some situations, and we still have to figure out how to balance it as the church and different local leaders in the different local churches. How do we balance showing love and kindness for somebody who we warned them. We warned them not to do such and such, and they went and did such and such, and now the husband gone, now the wife gone, and what do we do? Do backbench, ignore them, and just let them, let the devil gobble them up? No.
Right.
Even Paul addressed that terrible situation that with the young man in the Corinthian church, going into his stepmother.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry to interrupt you. We got to take a break. Time goes quickly. Are we going to jump into a quick break? Before that, though, we have Word to Flesh Moment with Reverend Mike. Words to Flesh Moments with Reverend Mike coming up right now as we hit the 6 o'clock break.
Let's make it clear. God does not agree with divorce, but he has permitted it. In Matthew 19, it says, because of the hardness of your hearts, God permitted it, but it has not been so from the beginning. So divorce has now become a part of our human experience. Here are 3 key steps to recover from divorce. Process, purpose, plan. Number 1, allow yourself to positively process your hurt or anger. You may need assistance to do this, so check in with a qualified counselor. But whether you do it by yourself or with a counselor, embrace forgiveness. You are going to need this in number 3. Number 2, renew your purpose in life or find new purpose in life. Find some renewed focus and drive for your life. Your divorce may have freed up some time you never had before. Don't waste it. Look forward to a new and purposeful life. Divorce does not change God's word. For I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Speaking of plans, number 3, make a plan to manage self, a plan to manage children, and a plan to manage finances. Your spouse may have helped you in certain areas before the divorce. You now need to plan to go on without them. Remember, if you have children, plan to focus on what's best for them, not on how to get back at your former spouse. Financial advice. You may need that, for your divorce may have given you less or more finances. Consult a qualified financial advisor. God bless you as you do. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
Do you have questions about the availability of medication from your drugstore pharmacist? Ask a pharmacist. Contact your pharmacist today by using our online request form via our website, calling 876-906-1106 or texting 876-219-9937, Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. or by emailing rxsupport@nhf.org.jm. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you. Ask a pharmacist.
What does it mean to hear from God? Do you hear a voice or was it just a feeling? What does the Bible have to say about this? Tuesday, September 5 on The Rock, join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Bishop Grace Adegold and Father Can Honeygun as they discuss the topic Hearing God. That's The Rock, Tuesday, September 5 at 10 a.m. here on the family station Love 101.
Welcome back to Family Time, a topic of great interest. Topic of great interest right here on Family Time. Time is going quickly. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping here in terms of some questions that came in and the response. But of course, we have with us Pastor Christopher Broadber, counselor and advocate for individual, family, and community development. He's a very special guest this evening. Remember to tell us what was the most important thing you did after your divorce. WhatsApp your texts and voice notes, 30 seconds or less, to 876-997-3125. You can also call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8, and you can watch and comment live on Love 101's Facebook page or YouTube channel. Doctor, well, I'm calling him Doctor, maybe that's coming soon. Dr. Broadber, right? Pastor Chris, Reverend Chris is mentioned, because we're looking at some other segments. He mentioned his PAID acronym, which spoke to promiscuity, alcohol, isolation, and drugs, and safeguarding your spirit. He mentioned that it's interesting that I know he didn't have a conversation with Reverend Mike, but he spoke about 3 P's as well, which I know is incorporated in what you're doing: purpose, process, and plan. What I want to look at though is I want again your response to this. Someone commented on the Love 101 page. Joan from Connecticut mentioned 3 years separation. So she's responding to the first WhatsApp message. 3 years from the church and your pastor hasn't reached out to you. She's saying that's barbaric, and what kind of shepherding is that? That's not caring for the sheep. So you know, she's very disgruntled, and it's disheartening within the body of Christ that many situations like this are prevalent, and it's unfortunate that persons don't get the help they need. A WhatsApp response, another WhatsApp message came in. It says, "Good evening." The person says, "I'm divorced without knowing it. After 23 years of marriage, we were separated for quite a while. This man wanted her out of the house, out of the matrimonial home which they built from scratch. It was his mother who gave the land. However, her father and his father and their uncle and her uncle built the home. He's now there's someone else there, another lady, and they want her out. She doesn't have the money to hire a lawyer. She's asking, what can she do?"
Mediation is always good. Yes, it's true that legal help does cost often, and the best legal help tends to cost a lot. But if she can find someone who is known to her husband, who her ex-husband might respect or have in high regard, she could go to that person and ask them to be a mediator for the situation. And ideally, what would be good, it would be a family intervention. Where I've seen it happen before. The whole family sits together and they realize this is being dissolved, or this relationship is dissolved. How can we be fair to both parties? It does get tricky sometimes because one party may be the main offender,
right?
So they want to punish. The whole family wants to punish that person. But a good mediator should be found, someone that both of you respect and the family will respect, who will call a meeting and try to sit down in a neutral space and talk about how we can bring an end to this peacefully. So find a mediator, someone that's respected by your spouse and yourself and the family. Whether a known minister in the area or even some known, I'm almost afraid to say community leader in our Jamaican context. But somebody respected, and see if they can be a mediator for you.
Matthew, understood. All right. So, in terms of what you mentioned, you're talking about the plan, and we're speaking about plans that can include, as was mentioned, investing in your interests, stretching yourself for the next level. What are some of the other, or you can expound as much as you're able on some of these things that persons can do to divert from the devastated state to now being productive, active, and getting their life back in a place that would cause them to, as you said, the best of their days is the latter part, is the rest of their days, instead of holding on and grappling with what went before.
Right. Well, that's the foundation that we build on, and we're going to talk about some of the building blocks that help you with to come up to erect a wonderful life after feeling broken. Right. So the rest of my life shall be the best of my life. If you're listening to us, write that down so you don't forget it, and then figure out ways that you will keep it before yourself. Keep it in front of your eyes so that you keep that as a central point, a building point. The rest of your life will be the best of your life. And how do we know that? Because even if it is to end, for some reason, I am of a certain age and, I'm going to be with the Lord, then heaven is going to be wonderful. But that's not the intention right now. The intention is to build while you're here and still be productive and fruitful, because you're not done yet. You're just getting started. And even when you've had that messy situation, it makes a massive message. All right. I've taught deliverance and demonology for 7 years, and I've told my students for a long time the things that I've been through, messy situations that have equipped me to teach what I teach. And so, as we like to say in Christendom, your mess will make a message for you. So don't write off yourself. Right. Don't think that you're done. You're going through the pain, you're going through the challenge, because you're coming out with a message and a ministry. So remember that purpose is in this. Again, I'll give you the building blocks just now, but I want to create a good foundation for you. Remember the book of Esther, how wonderful a book it is. You've come to the kingdom for such a time as this. What a wonderful statement, right? I think it's Mordecai to Esther, right? And Esther says, if I perish, I perish, in her noble statement about going to the king to rescue the Jews. Well, all of that scene and scenario came about after a divorce. The king from Vashti. So the king was a divorced man. And Esther came to the kingdom for such a time as that. And Esther found purpose. So purpose, to save the Jews came about even in the presence of divorce. So don't think that God is done with you because you've had a broken marriage. You may have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Your mess is going to make a message that will reach many. Okay, just note that. You're not done. You've just begun. All right, so we write that down. The rest of my life is the best of my life, and we're going to keep it before us. And here are just some 7 things. 5 things. I'm going to give you 5 things that I want you to write down. 1, find comfort in your own skin. Find comfort in your own skin, and we can circle back and talk about that. But 2, invest in your own interest. Invest in your own interest. 3, stretch yourself for the next level. Stretch yourself for the next level. 4, strengthen platonic and other non-romantic relationships. Again, strengthen platonic and other non-romantic relationships. And 5, get out for social activities. Involve yourself in social activities. Get out for social activities. So let's circle back if we have time and touch on these. Finding comfort in your own skin. What do we mean by that? Don't go into a place of low self-esteem, of self-doubt, of self-hate. That's dissing God's love for you. You're still fearfully and wonderfully made. That has not changed. You may have messed up. You may be the offending partner that has caused the demise of the union. But rally and know that His grace is sufficient for you. Accept God's forgiveness based on 1 John 1:9. Confess our sins. He's faithful and just to forgive us. Get up and run on. The Lord has a plan for you. Okay? Don't become Samson and fall short. Don't become, there are others like David, King David, fell short in some ways because of his broken marriage too. Okay,
stick and stay right there. We're gonna jump to the rest. We're gonna have to go to another break again. Yeah, time is going really quickly. All right, so as we go into our final break, remember, send messages 30 seconds or less to 9973125, or send a message via WhatsApp or on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. We go to a quick break and come right back with the rest of the steps from Pastor Bradber.
Where the student them Swiss we are.
Campus Connection is back. Can you believe it's time for school already? Wow! It is a new school year and you're invited to our Campus Connection orientation. We will be sharing summer adventures and giving tips to help you get ready for the year ahead. Join us as we kickstart the fun Tuesday, September 5 at 5:30 p.m. on the Family Station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Education news. Sit down and listen, have nothing to lose. Plus, you know them must bring some.
Get your Western Union back to school bonus from now until September 22. 50 winners of $10,000 every week. Millions in scholarships of up to $100,000 each. And double your Western Union money transfer in your GK1 wallet to get you ready for the new school year. You could be one of over 300 winners. Just download the GK1 app, receive a Western Union transfer in your GK1 wallet, and you're automatically entered to your back to school bonus. Visit gkmsonline.com for all the rules. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting Gaming and Lottery Act.
Welcome back to Family Time. We are in our final segment because time is quickly elapsing. The time is currently 17 minutes now, 16 or 17 minutes past the hour of 6 p.m. Tune to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. And FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Now we're speaking with Pastor Chris Bradber, counselor and advocate for individual, family, and community development. And our topic today is Action Plan After Divorce. So you were giving some tips, Pastor Bradber. Go ahead with the others, a couple of others that you mentioned.
Right. So we said finding comfort in your own skin, watching out and mitigating self-hate, self-doubt, low self-esteem. Do not diss God's love for you and his redemptive work and the powers that he has poured out for you and the investment of love. Okay, so love yourself, and trust God's love for you and hold his hand again and move on up. So get comfortable in your own skin even after the marriage has been broken. All right. Secondly, we said invest in your own interests. What do we mean by that? Well, when you've been married for a while, one of the writers said she was married for 23 years. And there is habits that get formed in that where you're, especially for the woman, they give out so much for the family. They're pouring out. They're not even remembering themselves. They're remembering the kids. They're pouring out. They're serving the husband and so on. And so when marriage comes, what happens now? When the marriage ends, they figure out, they think, what happens now? They don't know how to invest in themselves. They don't know how to serve their purpose and love on themselves. So, think of investing in yourself and things you want, your own assets for your own purpose. If it is a car, you need a sewing machine, go buy it for yourself and do what you want to do, right? Make those clothes you always wanted to make. Wardrobe, you might want to do a wardrobe change. You haven't bought yourself shoes and a dress and something nice for a while. Do it. Because, we know that things that happen in the physical impact our internal, and so how you look can affect how you feel and how you think about yourself. So invest in yourself and your interest. It's not that we're saying become self-centered, no, but care for yourself. That we've learned as Christians, you love your neighbor as what? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so God calls us to love ourselves, and you take up a plan to invest in yourself. Spend some money, spend some creative energy on yourself. It may even include traveling. You say, I want to go and do something. And you've been married like the person who wrote in 23 years. You've been all about what happens in the family. Well, it's not that you're going to leave the kids, if they're a certain age, but you have to think about now your own mental health. And sometimes that means taking some time off, investing in your time off, investing in travel, and in your new wardrobe and assets and such the like. We move to the next point. Stretch yourself for the next level. What do we mean by that? Well, again, it's strategic things to protect you from the wrestling against principalities and powers that want to pressure you until you tap out. Remember, that's how wrestling works, right? If you're in a wrestling match, they put you in a headlock and they want you to feel so pressured that you have to give up and tap out. That's what the enemy is seeking to do. Pressure you in your head, in your spirit, in your soul. So you want to give up and you stop bathing and you stop combing your hair and you stop cleaning the house and all of that. Well, no, we're not going to do that. We won't stop pouring in and building, right? I want you to say that. Put your hand on your chest and say, I won't stop loving me and building myself. Good. So you're stretching yourself for the next level. What does that mean? New languages. You can go learn a new language. Stretch yourself. New hobbies. You never rode a horse before. You got learn horseback riding. All right, that might cost a pretty penny. What about, taking up jogging? What about taking up lawn tennis? A new hobby. Stretch yourself. And a new course. Again, you'd have seen some, I don't know if some of you would have seen the columns in the Observer that I write on a Monday. I recommend things like, you go to Toastmasters to learn to do public speaking. You're stretching yourself to improve yourself because the rest of your life will be the best of your life. And so much is on the way. And you're preparing for it, right? So go take up voice training. Go learn to sing. Learn to play an instrument and you stretch yourself and perform for somebody. Get in front of the church and do a solo item. You've never done it before, but now is the time. Okay, and then the fourth point we said is strengthen platonic and other non-romantic relationships. So your children, you never just go, you never take them out one away. It was always the family going out. Take them out now, just you and them, and have fun, and smell the roses with them. And then your siblings. Sometimes, when you're married, we get so caught up with the family that we forget our siblings. We forget our parents. And yes, your spouse is the most important person along with your children. When you get married, that's your family. Everybody else is your relative. Yeah. But when the marriage breaks down, you're back to square one. And you say, okay, well, I still have my siblings. I still have my mom. I still have my dad. I still have Uncle Fred. I still have Auntie Jennifer. And you go and spend some time with them. Look for them. Take them out and strengthen those relationships. So the relationships with your children, with your family, siblings included, and then with your friends. You get on the cruise with your best friend. Go on the yacht, with your friend, or go to the beach with your group, your posse, and hang out with them and have a good time, and realize that you still have a social element to your life, right? And you're not just isolating yourself, staying home all the time, and hide and locking away in the dark room. No, have a social life. Once you have a soul, you need a social life. Once you have a soul, yes, you need a social life. Expressions, okay, laugh, giggle, play, and so on, because that's healthy. We have that saying, all work and no play makes Jill or Jack a dull person. So have a social life. And finally, get out for the social activities, right? The social activities. That's you're going to the concert, you're going to the play, you go to the church, check out another church, go visit, travel and, go check out one of those big churches in the States, or mega churches, get an experience of one of those churches. Or, some of our own local mega churches to see what it's like and have a blast. You don't have to not have fun because your heart is broken. You can still find some good fun and good fellowship, even in this new stage, a new phase.
Great advice. Just to add, message actually came earlier before this, or just as you're getting into the meat of the matter. T from Stony Hill said, I've been divorced from 2016. I've chosen to stick with the Lord. Went to Bible school and I am now a foster mom. I preach at my church. There's a smiley emoji there. Yes, sometimes I feel lonely, but I always bounce back. So she's a perfect poster child, so to speak, or poster person for what you stated in terms of, yes, devastation took place, but this is what now, 6-7 years on, she has accomplished a number of things. Is a foster mom, has gone to Bible school and is preaching. So it's what you said. You took up some kind of lessons in terms of voice. You could sing in front of the church. She went into studies instead of delving into some novel or going down a spiral of devastation and looking and being sad and being a statistic. She now pulled herself up and was able now to move forward and is, I'm sure, rejoicing as there's, as I said, a smiley emoji of where she was and looking back at where she was and where she is now. And she is, of course, as you said at the top, a testimony. So her mess is now a message and a testimony.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Bless God for her.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yes, she as the poster child for what we're talking about. And thank God for the church that facilitates her ministry.
Right.
But, you keep on keeping on. As we say, YOLO, you only live once. That's the saying out there. So you want to make the most of your days, your time here. There's still opportunity to serve the Lord and to do great things locally and, internationally if you yield yourself to the Lord for him to use you. The rest of your life will be the what?
Best
of your life.
But Pastor Bradford, we only have a couple minutes left. You spoke about, could you delve some more into maybe some tips, support? You spoke about social activities, church and other events like that. There's a play out, of course, no specific sponsor, but there's some great plays out right now with Glenn Campbell and company and so forth. So as I said, what can persons do with the time that we left? What do you like to share? What's on your heart to share before we go, man of God? Critical thing is always the usefulness of an accountability partner. Man shall not be, it's not good for man to be alone, is a profound statement that the Lord said. And it remains true. Even with the best intentions, you can become lonely. But it's good to have an accountability partner. So find someone mature that you can link with that will keep you, keep you on the straight and narrow, so to speak. And keep checking on you. And when you're feeling down, when you're feeling like getting into trouble, you can call them and they will say, no. All right, here's what you're going to do. Go start paint. Go start do this. So someone who can help you. Some sister, some brethren, or some counselor who is available. Unfortunately, yes, some sessions cost. My sessions do cost. There's a fee for it. But there are individuals, good friends, mature friends who won't lead you into trouble that can be a good accountability partner. So, and please don't demonize and villainize your ex. I've seen that and I've had to deal with that where they get caught up with spewing out hatred against your ex. That's not helpful or healthy. The cross empowers you to forgive. So it doesn't matter what has happened. That's one of the purposes of the cross. The cross is about empowering forgiveness. That's why Jesus even mentions the word, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. We all get ourselves into trouble not knowing what we're doing, and we need the forgiveness. That's what the cross is about. So use the power of the cross. Forgive your ex. Don't get bitter, but get better by building yourself on the foundation of knowing that the rest of your life will be the best of your life. Thank you so much. We'll call time. That's excellent ending right there. Thanks for being here with us, Pastor Bradford. And for all of you, if you have any questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, call us at Family Life Ministries. For more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 876-920-1034, 876-926-8101. Please note that our Portmore FLM office is now closed. So all counseling matters should be referred to the Kingston office at 1 Cecilia Avenue in Kingston, or via our numbers that were just shared. Remember, for all queries including costs and to make appointments, please call the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. Before we leave, a scripture today, Lamentations 3:22 and 23. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Join us again next week, 5:30 p.m. on Love 101. Facebook, YouTube Live, and Love 101 Facebook and YouTube channels. Thanks again to our special guest, Pastor Christopher Broadbent, counselor and advocate for individual, family, and community development. Thanks to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, studio facilitator, Timoy Butler, and of course to you. Take care until next time. I'm O'Neill Campbell. See you. Take care. Bye-bye for now.